Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And the NFL draft is over. We've given it a couple days to sit. And today we're going to talk about the winners and the losers from this year's NFL draft. Which team came away like bandits and stole some of the best players in the draft, and which teams completely dropped the ball? We're about to find out now. Tim, are you ready to get into it, good sir?
Let's run it.
All right, so we have one winner and one loser each for both of us. And we're going to start out with the winners. And my winner is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they only had 5 draft picks, but Howie Roseman was able to work some of his draft day magic.
They made good work with them.
And move some stuff around, ended up with Jordan Davis at the 13th pick, managed to snab Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round, which I think is tremendous value, shoulder injury or not. And he also made the biggest splash of draft night, trading for A.J. Brown. And he did all of those moves without giving either one of his 1st-round draft picks next year away. So a phenomenal draft for the Eagles. I think you have to be super excited about what they did. You address some needs. Cameron Jurgens, they got in the 2nd round. If Jason Kelsey decides to hang him up, you get Nakobe Dean and Kyron Johnson to help the linebackers, and Jordan Davis up the middle. I think the Eagles had a very, very good draft.
Yeah, I mean, overall, very solid. Obviously, the picks that they did end up using, obviously with Davis in the 1st round, giving up that second 1st-round pick. We thought that they might use it on a receiver, but we've seen how iffy they've been in terms of drafting receivers over the past 5 years or so. So they said, we just won't draft one. We'll just use the pick to go out and get one. I think it was a great move for them. But for my one winner of this draft, I've got the New York Jets, which is interesting because you rarely refer to New York Jets as winners.
The Jets didn't screw the draft up? Oh my God.
Oddly
Rare.
enough, they made like some really interesting moves that actually worked out in their favor a lot. So they took their 4th overall pick and went with Sauce Gardner, which I think is a particularly great pick. I think he'll be a really strong corner for him. And then they went and got Garrett Wilson at the 10th. And I think that's a great pick for them to boost their wide receiving core. And then they went and did a little bit of a surprise move and traded back into the 1st round for a 3rd time up at the 26th pick to take Jermaine Johnson the 2nd, which was kind of like a whoa, because most teams, I mean, you had a lot of teams that had 2 draft picks in the 1st round, not a lot, but a couple. But for them to trade back in to a 3rd time and then go and take Jermaine Johnson the 2nd, I think that's actually a pretty good value at the pick there. He fell decently far. He was could have gone anywhere between really like 15 and 30 given some people's it's all depending on opinion, but they also went and added Breece Hall in the 2nd round, which a lot of people are speculating that he might even just pretty soon overtake Michael Carter as starting running back role as like a 3-down back for them. And I think he has the ability to really make them a more prominent run game. And on top of that, they went and got Max Mitchell in the 6th round, or in the 4th round, excuse me, who's a tackle out of Louisiana, help boost the offensive line a little bit. Honestly, it's kind of at that point, you're just giving guys the opportunity to play for positions, to get some competition in there. But they rounded out their draft outside those top 4 picks. They only had 7 total, but they made good use of their picks, and those first 4 are some really, really solid picks for where they got them at, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you take Sauce Gardner, who's the best corner in the draft, Garrett Wilson, the best receiver in the draft. You snag Jermaine Johnson, you trade up at an absolutely awesome value. You get Breece Hall, who some argue the best running back in the draft. And the Jets, they absolutely made it work. You get Jeremy Ruckert in the 3rd round. He can potentially be your starting tight end.
They haven't been particularly strong in tight end lately, so it certainly doesn't.
A lot of great value that the Jets went out and got, just up and down. Now, those are winners. We could talk about some other teams. Baltimore is highly regarded as one of the winners of the draft. Same thing with Kansas City. But now we're going to get into some of the losers of draft night. And my loser of draft night is the New England Patriots, starting off with quite the strange pick in the 1st round with Cole Strange, a guard from Chattanooga, who many regarded as a 3rd round grade, a 4th round grade. Bill Belichick went and got him in the 1st. Yeah, and then in the second round, they take Tyquan Thornton, the wide receiver out of Baylor, which the only argument I have there is
He's
Tyquan
fast.
Thornton. Yeah, Tyquan Thornton go fast. Interesting.
In terms of actual receiver talent,
I mean, they did address corner in the third and fourth round with Marcus and Jack Jones. You can never have too many running backs with Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. They got Bailey Zappi, so they
then to go with Bailey Zappi in the fourth round there, I was like,
backup.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You get a D tackle in the sixth, and then your last two picks are guards. You get more guards. Yeah, the Patriots is just kind of they continue the trend of what the heck are you doing. They had a lot of picks.
Yeah, they had a lot of picks. They picked a lot of guys. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to kind of throw some guys in there and see if they sink or swim. But in terms of actual quality of their picks, unless Belichick knows something we don't, which like we've seen in the last couple of years,
it very well happened, but
we've seen a lot of picks that just haven't really panned out, like that N'Keal Harry pick in the first round.
That was a fun one.
Like he hasn't really panned out much either, so it's hard for me to be particularly optimistic about any of these guys. But that's why you pick them. You let them get their shot.
Yeah, you see what you got with what you had. Tim, who's your loser of the draft?
Yeah, my loser here is the Arizona Cardinals. And they are ones that they certainly made some interesting moves. But in terms of ones that especially actually help their overall roster, I'm not so sure.
It's a lot of
So first of all, you see them give up their first round pick in the trade with the Ravens to obtain Marquise Brown, which all of a sudden now makes a little bit more sense with the announcement today coming out that DeAndre Hopkins is being suspended 6 games for violating the performance-enhancing drug policy.
Which is a big loss.
Which is ironic because he was also injured for a large point of the season this past year. So for him to be on performance-enhancing drugs but still can't stay healthy, to me is slightly ironic. But regardless, when you look back to their actual draft, obtaining Marquise Goodwin, that's a different wide receiver, Marquise Brown.
There we go.
Marquise Brown is good for them, but in terms of what they actually used their other draft picks for, nothing really
not
stands
a single
out.
Other wide receiver,
No, and that is certainly particularly interesting. But their first pick was Trey McBride, the tight end from Colorado State, who certainly looks like he could be a decent tight end on some levels. But
the problem is you signed Zach Ertz to an extension this offseason.
Yeah, once again, he seems like he could be a decent tight end and maybe a tight end of the future, because Zach Ertz certainly isn't young by any means. But also, I don't feel like that should be the need that they're addressing right now, especially with them just signing Ertz to the extension. And then you look down, they go back-to-back picks or back-to-back third-round picks, the 23rd and 36th of the third round, and get 2 edges in Cameron Thomas and Myjai Sanders, which is like, okay. Neither of them really stand out to me. I think that, they
tripled down and got an edge in the 7th round at Jesse Luketa.
You certainly saw defensive end be something that their defense of line, something they focus on a little bit, but I'm not sure if they really needed to go all 3 edge rushers there.
Yeah.
You go in the 6th round and get Keontae Ingram, USC. You grab 2 guards in Laceda Smith and Marquise Hayes in the 6th and 7th round. So it's like, once again, you've got the quantity to get some guys and throw some guys in there, but I can't say I think they used their picks particularly well, especially when you see some of the guys that were available at different spots and what teams did with getting guys in some of the later rounds. I don't know. I don't really see any diamonds in the rough in any of these picks.
I mean, well, the reason we're saying this now is because it's easy to look back like 3 days afterward and go, all right, who won and who lost the draft? But
we don't really know much of anything about how these guys are actually going to perform. This is all speculation at this point.
Yeah, we don't really know. We can only speculate.
Disclaimer, we don't know what we're talking about at all. But to be fair, anyone who does like immediate post-draft speculations on teams who are losing drafts, they don't really know that much either. It's all speculation.
And that's right. So But hey, we have our winners and losers of the 2022 NFL draft. We've covered a lot of stuff within the draft leading up to and during the draft. So you can watch all of that stuff on Running the Table. And we have lots more content coming for you. So if you want more stuff from us, like and subscribe. And until next time, we out.